VRified Games.
I can't believe it's been over a month now.
What's up, Bill? Yeah. And living that talking head. Coming to you live with Daigo, VRified Games. How we doing, Daigo?
Hey Ed, how's it going?
It's all good in the hood, homie.
What?
Homie? Yeah. So what we doing today, my man?
Oh, Ed. In our last video, I had mentioned how UEVR was basically the Wild West for me. And, you know, when I'm looking back at comments...
Emily just vanished one day. No one knows why.
Over social media, Reddit, etc., where I posted the videos, you know, you're kind of expecting people to ask you about the gameplay, the game, the VR implementation with UEVR. You expect that. But most of the questions I got asked is, what do you mean by the Wild West? It's like, so bizarre. So okay, let me go over that because it is still relevant to UEVR. That's what we're using today.
Okay, go on, man.
Most people lost hope after a few weeks. They just stopped looking.
Okay, so when it comes to VR gaming, it's always new. Okay, there are always new games. Fantastic, I can accept it. When it comes to flat to VR gaming, as in taking a flat game and putting it into VR, 9 times out of 10 I already know what that game is. I have a vested interest in getting that game into VR, so I have some knowledge on it.
But I'm not giving up. I need to find her. I have to.
Hey, Sally! You still looking for your cousin?
What'd you do to her? Oh no! My bike is busted! How will I get home?
But UEVR has opened the floodgates. Hundreds of titles that I may never have even thought about before are now playable in VR.
Finders keepers. Oh, good.
So there's a lot of IPs, there's a lot of independent games, there's lots of huge AAA games that I wouldn't have thought about prior to UEVR, just simply down to the amazing implementation of the mod on the Unreal Engine itself. So that's what I mean by being the Wild West. There's so much unknown to me, personally.
Sally! You know you're here!
And I couldn't be happier for it. It's like, one day I had a handful of games in the library and I was happy, and the next day I had hundreds of games in my library. And that's down in large part to the Epic Game Store. Now, why do I mean that? Well, I've had the Epic Game Store for years now, and every week you get a free game.
Can't hide from us! The cable car. I should be able to take that home. The station's not too far. I just hope it's still open.
Not always, but mostly it'll be an Unreal Engine 4 game. And yeah, so after 3 to 4 years of building this catalogue of games I've never played, I can now go back and experience them in UEVR. Fantastic.
Hey! I think I saw her!
And not only that, but I can play these games in the way I like to play, which is first person modded. Motion controls being a bonus are there, present and correct.
Come on!
And soon I will also have gestures implemented, thanks to another modder. So it's ticking all my boxes, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Right.
Where'd you go? Are you gonna disappear too?
Okay, so what are we doing today?
Alright, yeah. Well, again, we're back into the unknown a little bit here, Ed. We're looking at a game called GYLT. Now, GYLT was released as a Google Stadia exclusive way back in the day when Stadia was actually a thing. Sadly, Google Stadia no longer exists, it's gone, and it's kind of pushed back cloud gaming a couple of years, which is very unfortunate because it was a very affordable way for people to experience high-end PC gaming. The idea behind it is fantastic. Unfortunately, it didn't stick with consumers, unfortunately. For whatever reason, Google Stadia is gone.
I can't even even see Bethelwood from up here.
So, unfortunately, GYLT didn't really receive the attention it maybe should have. Just simply down to it being an exclusive for a quote-unquote system that nobody bloody played. So, anyway, fast forward a few years and it gets released on other platforms in PC. So, fantastic, we can now experience it. And it being Unreal 4, it's a good fit for Unreal Engine. Now, the game itself is normally played from a third-person perspective. In the opening missions, controls are kind of tank controls, 2.5D, but once you get into the game proper, it becomes a third-person game. So, you will notice the control scheme is a little different from the introduction to the main game. It is what it is.
I'm pretty sure no one uses this path anymore. There's gotta be a way around these.
So what is it? Well, it's a stealth-based survival horror game. What do I mean by stealth-based? Well, you hide, you evade, you outrun. Think Alien Isolation, Home Sweet Home, those kind of games. Combat is not really an option. I mean, it's there, but it is recommended that you run and hide.
Good.
Just looking at it, and I think you will agree when you get to the town section especially, this is kind of like if Silent Hill was reimagined by R.L. Stine, you know, Goosebumps, kind of Are You Afraid of the Dark, young adult horror kind of fiction. It really does feel like Silent Hill reimagined for that audience. The art style seems very much akin to, say, Coraline, those kind of darker, kind of kids animated / illustrated media. And it all fits together very nicely. Now, maybe to compare it to Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark, it's a little bit more mature than that, but still the motif is there. I think you'll get what I'm talking about. It's aimed at a more younger audience, but it is still very much survival horror. So what's the idea? Well, the premise of the game is your cousin has gone missing, and she's been missing a month already. Nobody seems to care, and it's down to you. You're putting up your missing flyers, you're searching for her.
Most people in town work at the factory. If the cable car is closed, I can try the factory. Maybe someone can give me a ride home.
Now, as with all of these kind of games, there's a deeper mystery at hand, but yeah. It's better you experience it rather than me tell you, so I'll keep it brief. But suffice it to say, you're searching for your cousin Emily, you get chased by bullies, and your bike is totaled.
Cable car connects Bethelwood with the factory.
And you have to make your way back home, and you're all the way up in the mountain. And so you get to this tram system to, you know, find a way home, and everything takes off from there. And that's when the whole thing kind of goes sideways, and you end up in a Silent Hill inspired young adult horror fiction Coraline looking illustrated adventure.
Most of the factory workers take the cable car to work. I wonder why they built it up here in the mountain.
None of those things are bad in any way. It's fantastic. I love it. Absolutely love it. So how does it play with UEVR? Well, as I previously mentioned, it's a third-person, over-the-shoulder, stealth-based horror game.
Are you lost?
Can you help me, please? I need to take the cable car home.
It's late. You're lucky I'm still here. I'll send you down. Just grab a ticket.
Why can't you just let me in?
It's important, little girl. You can't ride without a ticket.
Okay. He won't let me ride without a ticket.
Now, you might think that wouldn't work in first person, but it does. Now, hold your horses. You can toggle between third and first person at any time with this profile. Link in the description if you want to download it for yourselves. So you do have the option to switch to third person. I just prefer to play first person, that's just me. But you do you, it's all good. So in first person I have implemented, I also have motion tracked controllers, so
That's weird. There was a ticket just sitting there. Whatever. I guess it's free. Did he just leave? Maybe he'll come back soon. I should wait in the cable car. I was going to crash. I'm not getting on one of those anytime soon. Who left a flashlight here? Well, finders keepers, I guess.
Your flashlight works in 6 degrees of freedom. You're able to shine the beam with complete freedom. Very, very immersive. And also the quote-unquote weapon. I'm not sure if you could refer to it as a weapon, but there is an item you get later in the game.
No one's here. Who turned off the lights?
That will help you out in terms of vanquishing monsters, getting through obstacles, etc.
Wow. What happened to the machine?
It's like a red jewel kind of thing. That's also tracked in 6 degrees of freedom. Other than that, they don't really do anything. It's just pretty much for show and pretty much for immersion, and it works very well in that regard. First person perspective works amazingly well. Using 6 degrees of freedom head tracking and room scale, you're able to look around the corners to see where your enemies are. You're able to hide better thanks to the room scale implementation that moves your character model with you. Yeah, it works amazingly well. Can't fault it there. So as I said before, yeah, this is a brand new IP. Well, brand new to me. As I said, GYLT released a few years ago on a system nobody played, but it's there available to the masses now. Get it on Steam, GOG, Epic, wherever it is available now on PC, you can get it.
Locked. I need to find another way back home.
Incidentally, it's also on console, but that's neither here nor there. It's a fantastic game in its own right. If you were to play it flat, you're gonna love it anyway. Fantastic game. If you love Silent Hill, if you love darker, kind of young adult fiction, you might get a kick out of it also. It's a lot of fun. And it does take a dark turn later on, kind of puts everything on its head, becomes a bit more adult. So don't worry too much about that. It does get deep. Does get deep, and those are the kind of stories I like. So I am very, very pleased that I've discovered GYLT, and that's all down to UEVR. Had I no way of getting this game into VR, I wouldn't probably not look at it twice. Probably wouldn't even look at it twice, and that is what I mean by UEVR has opened the floodgates. There are so many titles that I'm looking at now that I never would have even considered before. Having an absolute blast with it. So in terms of a tutorial, not much needed. So again, Cartoon Carl's going to sit this one out. The profile is in the description. Go ahead, download it, import it into your UEVR and play. Now down to the caveats, and there are some. I have noticed this on a handful of titles.
What's going on here?
More often than not it's fine, but on a handful, your configuration for, say, switching the camera into first person, motion controls, camera adjustments, they don't always save. I don't know what it is. Hopefully it will get addressed and fixed in a future update.
Where is everybody?
But sometimes you'll notice when you load into a new area, suddenly your character model is visible where before it was invisible, or you might notice that, oh no, it's gone back into third person. That's everything has reset. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen, so it's not a huge deal for me because I've been using UEVR since it released, so I can go into the settings, I can change everything within a matter of seconds, get it back to where I had it before. But for new people coming into UEVR, that could be an issue, so I thought I'd better mention that. Now as I say, it's not every time, but just be aware it can happen.
The festival was like a week ago. I thought the signs were all taken down. No police, no firemen, no ambulances? Did everyone just leave or what? What? Was there an earthquake?
Not a big deal, just go into your settings and readjust them. So that's it, you guys. You can watch along the gameplay here and you will see GYLT running in first person perspective. You can toggle at any time by pressing numpad 0. This is also, incidentally, very important with the cutscenes. Because you have manipulated the camera with the gameplay into first person rather than third, the cutscenes get a little screwed up. The camera is still attached to the player model, and that can kind of mess up things artistically. You don't see it how it was intended. So press that numpad 0 and you'll see the cutscenes as they were supposed to be seen. And toggle back when you get into the gameplay proper, or just simply play in third person. The sky is the limit. Choice is yours. Go nuts. That's what is so good about UEVR. Choice. Okay, Ed.
Yeah?
Well, we got a shit ton of games in this library here. Let's go through the catalog and see what else we can VRify, huh?
Oh yeah, son?
Is that Emily? All this time, was she hiding at school? understand. Why would Emily hide at school for over a month? Bachman School. The school looks like it's still in good shape. Locked, of course. Now what? Maybe there's a key in the janitor's office.
So I guess we're going to leave it there, you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you've any thoughts, queries, any critiques, put them down below. If indeed there are any games you'd like us to look at VRifying in the future, put those down below and we will presumably get back to you eventually. You can also follow us on TikTok for our adventures over there, which are basically condensed versions of what we do over here. And yeah, follow us on all social medias. All links will be in the descriptions, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you there also. Alright, VRified Games out.
Who put these up? These aren't my flyers. Is someone making fun of me? That's just mean. What is that thing? There's more of those monsters. I've got to stay away from them. What's going on here? It's another strange book. Ugh, that stuff is blocking the door. I'm not touching it. There's gotta be a way to get rid of it.